locked into Fire 716 Radio. Guys, I need you to do me a favor. Follow me on all my social media platforms. That's Facebook, that's YouTube, that's Instagram, that's TikTok at DNP Speaks. Now let's get into this conversation today. Let's go.
What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Listen, listen, listen. It is the last day of 2022. It's the last day of the week of December, and this is the last month of the year. And I'm excited to be with you all. You have no idea how excited I am to be here with you all. Welcome to Speak Out Loud Radio on Fire 716 Radio. It's a pleasure to be with you all. It's going to be a great, great show on this afternoon. Listen, if you have not downloaded Fire 716 app, please do it now. Tell everyone to go download Fire 716 Radio at the App Store or Android. So let's get into this conversation. So I want to slow it down just for a little bit. Many of you know across New York and other states around the world that we have had one of the worst storms I have ever been in contact with. I mean, ever. I have never in my entire existence been in a storm, winter storm, hurricane, tornado. I don't even know what a hurricane feels like, to be honest, because we live in upstate New York, Western New York. But I have never been a part of a storm this significant in my entire life. And my heart goes out to the city of Buffalo. It really does. My heart goes out to the city of Buffalo before I get into the topic today, because we can't just go about our lives and not feel some heaviness today, to feel some sorrow. Definitely we have joy. I was fortunate to be able to not only survive, but have heat and things like that, and trying to help other neighbors and things like that. Some were not fortunate, unfortunately, and I don't want to go too much because I want to be sensitive to everyone. But some people lost their lives, and unfortunately, very tragically. I'm not going to go into specifics, but you've seen it on the news, you've seen it on CNN, you've seen it all over. And before I start the show today, I really want to give respect and honor to Buffalo, but I also want to give respect to the families that lost someone. So before we get into this topic today, I just want to do a moment of silence for everyone, all our brothers and sisters, because that's who they are, that lost their lives in this snowstorm. All right, thank you so much. I felt led to do that because it's important. It's very important to do that, because you never know what people go through. You don't know until you're in the midst of those troubles. You're in the midst of trying to find food, trying to find shelter. I can get into so much that has taken place, but time won't let me. But we need each other. We need each other to grow. It's just so much that I can say, but I'm praying for Buffalo for sure. And I want you guys to know, all of you, we're going to make it through this. Just like we made it through everything else, you're going to make it. Now let's get into this topic. Now, like I said, this is the end of the year, right? And a lot of us are, partying it up, or we're going to be doing some other things. We're going to church. Some of us are just relaxing. There's nothing wrong with that, right? My assignment this afternoon is to encourage you, like I always do, but to give you some momentum, because tomorrow is just not another day. We already know it's New Year's Day. It's a new year. Happy New Year. But some of us, if we're not careful, if we're not paying attention, we will go into January 1st, which is tomorrow, by the help of God, 2023, with the same mentality. We can buy new clothes, new shoes, we can go out to the club, we can go to church, and we can do all these things, but we can still have the same mentality. And a lot of times the mentality that we do have is sameness, complacency, doing the same thing over and over. You know, a lot of people say, I got a New Year's resolution. And I'm not downing and I'm not putting anybody down. If that's what you do, and if it helps you, great. But I know for me, my family, people that I associate with, we don't believe in doing New Year's resolutions. I'm not saying they don't work, but they don't work for me. And the reason why they don't work for me is, do you know how many times I've been on a diet? January the 1st, and by the time March 1st comes, it's gone, it's done. Or I say I'm going to make a change in the beginning of the year and it doesn't work. Why am I talking about this? Because it has a lot to do with the topic, and I'll give it to you in just a moment. But we have to take the seriousness of going into a new year and a new day, because it's time to take the brakes off. And that's the topic for today. It's time to take the brakes off. Some of you have been on hold for way and far too long. You have been on hold and you're holding on to who you used to be because it's familiar, because it's comfortable. Some of us won't move to where we are called to be, where we have, where our destiny lies, because we won't move. And it's time for us to move. It's time for us to make a choice in our own lives to make a move. Some of us won't do it because, and if I could say this, some of us are been miserable for a while. We do things in a safe way, right? When trouble comes, then we try to find our way to do these things that we need to do. But we should have a mind that we want to be the best version that we can be, the best person, the best parent, the best wife, the best husband, the best athlete, the best of who we need to be for ourselves and the people that we love. See, it's time to remove every block, right? Every mountain, every distraction, if it's people, if it's places, if it's things, if it's your past trauma, if it's your past trouble, it's your past whatever. We can't keep holding on to those things because they have been such a distraction in our lives. We all have experienced some kind of setback this year. Some of us have went through multiple, not just one or two, but multiple persecutions, excuse me, multiple issues. And we did life, again, in a safe way, not just in the same way, but in a safe way. What does that mean, to do life in a safe way? You haven't taken any leaps or bounds, which is what I call faith. When you step out on faith, you're taking a leap. You're taking a step that you have never stepped into before. And because you've taken a step or a leap of faith to do something that you have never done before, there's going to be a different outcome to that different thing that you have never done before. But some of us want to just be and live safe. And if that's you, that's fine. But there are people out there today that are tired of living so safe. Some of you are tired of doing the same thing over and over and over again. I know you want to change, but you're saying, how do I do that? Well, the first thing is you got to make up in your mind. Listen, brother, listen, sister, you have gifts. You have talents. Your ideas are not dumb. They're not stupid. You got strength. You got power. But you got to put them to use. Y'all hear what I'm saying? You have to put, what you have to use. It's time to take the brakes off of your life. It's time to take the brakes off of your health. It's time to take the brakes off of your relationship. It's time to take the brakes off of your money. It's time to take the brakes off of how you think about yourself and how you worry about everybody else but your own business, your own thing. How can we go into a new year with the same mentality? It doesn't work. See, you have to break the mold of the safety. You got to break that and shift into another gear. If there's something wrong with your car, you don't keep riding that car. Some of us do. If that light come on, you will keep riding. But seriously, if a car is really broken down, you're not going to try to keep riding it over and over. Yeah, you're going to do something about it. You're going to find a way to do something about it. And I want you to do that. It's time to shift. When is the last time you shifted yourself to do something different? When is the last time you did something great for yourself that had a long and lasting effect on your livelihood? That showed you that you can do any and everything if you really put your mind to it, if you put your thought to it, if you throw your whole self in it. I want to pause here. If you are enjoying this show today, if you're feeling like DMP Speaks, I needed to hear this. I've been feeling this way, but I needed to hear this. I know that I needed to change, but I just needed to hear what you had to say today. And you just need some help. And I'm telling you, I'm making this time here. I want you to call me. I want you to call 716-371-1903, extension 1. That's 716-371-1903, extension 1. And again, if you're just coming in, we're talking about it's time to take the brakes off. It's time to take the brakes off. Like I stated before, there is a shift that we all need to have in our lives. And this shift is only going to better you. It's only going to better your relationships. It's only going to better your marriage. It's only going to better your budgeting. That's something that we really, some of us, if we can be honest, we need to budget our lives a lot better. And I'm not just talking about money either. I'm talking about our time, where we put our time in, where we don't need to put our time in, or put our effort in, where we don't need to put our effort in. We need to better our education. I'll say it again, we need to better our education. We can't be afraid to educate ourselves, because not only is education it's free, it'll free you. I hope that you caught that. It'll free you. Better functionality, better thought process, better you. Because when you better your relationships, when you better your marriage, and you better your finances, you better your education, your functionality of your mind, and what you do and what you don't do and what you're a part of, that's bigger than you. You better yourself. And once you better yourself, you can better other people in your household, your schools, your communities, these households. Let me give you an example. When I was a kid, I wanted to ride a bike, right? And I asked my parents for a bike. They got me a bike, but they put training wheels on there. Now, I'm not going to lie. I didn't learn how to ride too well because I left those training wheels on there a little too long. And I never got the functionality to really ride. I know y'all can laugh because it's funny to me now, but it wasn't funny when I was younger. But I wanted to learn how to ride. And the only way that I could have learned how to ride if my parents would have just took the training wheels off just a little bit earlier. I guess they were afraid for me to fall. Maybe that was it. Maybe they were just afraid for me that I was going to fall or scrape my knee. But guess what? Eventually they did take it off. I still fell, but I learned from my fall because you know what? I figured out what I needed to do so that I wouldn't fall again. Some of you had safety wheels on your bikes and you fell when they took them off, but you got back up. You kept getting back on that bike until you learn how to ride. Some of you need to do that with your life. Some of you got safety on your life and it's been on those training wheels has been on you too long. And because those training wheels have been on you too long, it has you have too much hesitation in your life. Now, and you're trying to find a balance, and now it's time for you to take those training wheels off so that you can move where you need to go, so that you can be free and ride into your destination, to your destiny. Because everybody has a destination, right? You gotta find how to ride this, as they said, this wave of life. But you can't really get to your destination. You can't even fulfill your purpose if you're always doing everything so scared. I know I'm saying something. I know I'm hitting some areas because that's what my purpose is, not to make you feel bad, but to make you think and to make you think to make some changes. Because we can say we want to make changes all time, all day, right? And we can have all these plans and strategies. But if we are not executing those strategies, if we're not executing those plans, guess what? They're just plans. They're just strategic moves with no movement. Let's keep going on because I know y'all getting bored of me. But seriously, just like your life, it's time for you to take those training wheels off and it's time to ride. Because if you have never been told this, if this is your first time coming on Speak Out Loud Radio at Fire 716 radio station, I want to let you know and I want to encourage you today. You can do this. Simple as that. You can do this. So many people probably have told you that you couldn't. So many people told you that you will never make it. So many people writ you off. There are somebody right now that's writing you off and they're talking about you and you know it. It could be your parents. It could be a sibling. It could be a friend. It could be your wife. It could be your husband. It could be you. You could be writing yourself off. But I want to let you know you can do this. I want to encourage your heart. You can do this. I want to encourage your mind. You can do this. Have you ever heard the saying, you can do anything if you put your mind to it? I want you to put your mind to it. I want you to put your heart to it. I want you to put your hands to it. I want you to put your feet to it. I'll get very specific. I want you to throw yourself into any and everything that you want to do this year that's coming up. There are no excuses. And I know you've heard this before, but let me explain it in DNP Speaks way. When I said there is no excuses, I'm not saying that life does not happen. I'm not saying that things don't happen out of the blue. Who knew that I was going to lose my wonderful sister this year at the end of August and not have her for the rest of my life? But one thing my sister told me on her deathbed before she passed away, when she could talk, she told me to do everything that God has told me to do and do it with all your might. She said, you heard me? And she called me, and I never told anybody this, but my nickname that my sister gave me was Boogie Bear. Don't y'all ever use that, ever. I'm just being very open and transparent. Anybody tell me that, I'm gonna put them in a headlock. No. She said, Boogie, you need to go and live. She said, I don't know how long I have, but she said, promise me you'll do everything that you told me that you were going to do. So I'm telling you this, and I'm going to say this as an affirmation. I'm going to do everything in 2023 that I felt like I couldn't do this year. And I'm not giving myself no excuses. I want you to tell yourself that today. It is time to take the brakes off, and it's time for you to go. This is not a high-minded speech. This is not just to just make you feel good for a moment. It's time for execution. It's time for you to really get your book bag, whatever tools that you need to build that dream, to build that vision, to build that ministry, to build that family. It is time for you to do it now. Today is the day. Today is the day that you build your future. Take what you need. Hear me. Take what you need from this year. Learn from what you have went through and take off. Just like a plane ready to get, the engines are going. They had to check everything, got to make sure the whole plane is doing what it needs to do before they take off the ground. You got to do the same thing. This is the time that you do it, and it's time to take off. I'm not saying things are going to be done in a snap of a finger. But listen to me, family. You can do this. There's nothing that you can't do. See, sometimes we have limited beliefs. We have limited thoughts. We have limited beliefs in ourselves because other people have said this and have said that. But it's time to get away from what people have said because that's lip service. It's lip service. You don't have time for lip service. You have a real life going on. You got a real husband or wife. You got real children. You got real bills. Go get it. I love Mary's song. Go get it. You can do this. It's time to take the brakes off. Take those training wheels off. Take the training wheel telling you that you will never be successful. Nobody's ever going to marry you. Nobody's ever, you're never, that business is never going to start. You're never going to finish. Let me tell you something. I'm going to just open up for one more minute. I decided this year or this upcoming year, I'm going back to school. And I'm going to go get my master's. You know what? I'm going to be honest with you. And I didn't even tell my wife this. After I get my master's, if I feel it and I feel that a push by as they said, the man upstairs, God, I might go get my doctorate. Because we only got a limited time here. And I don't want to leave full with all of these things that he has placed in me. And then he takes me and I leave full. I want to leave empty. I want to do everything that he has placed in me to change this world the way that he gave it to me. And I want you to do the same thing. So as I close today, my last show for this year, I want to say Happy New Year, Happy Holidays. Let's go get it, y'all. Peace.
Speak out loud. I hope that inspired you, motivated you, and I want to help you become the best version